Hello, everyone. Welcome to Aligning with Purpose, a podcast where we explore themes of finding your true purpose, from quitting corporate, moving cities, practicing holistic health, and more. Join me as we discover our purposes together. My name is Julie Yoshinaga, and I'm so happy you're here. Today, I'll be talking about the 29 lessons I learned in my 29 years of life, and I'm really excited for this episode because I am someone who loves to talk about growth, looking inward, and how to continue to better ourselves. I am by no means a perfect person. I make continuous and many mistakes, and as a human being, we are naturally flawed. But I think it is important for us to be able to recognize our faults and continue to grow from them and learn. So these are the 29 lessons that have really shaped me into who I am, and I hope these lessons can help you, and let's dive right into it. As always, I want to start off with our Beauty and Humanity segment and give a little bit of a refresher as to why I started this segment. This segment was really meant for us to take a step back and reflect on the life around us, the small moments, because it carries a lot of wisdom, love, light, and it's important for us to be able to see the beauty in the small interactions that we have with people, and also the interactions that you see amongst other people or even just other life forms, whether that's animals, the nature that you're in. And the more that we can see the beauty around us and not just be caught up in the internal struggle that we have, I believe it helps us heal together. The more optimism, positivity that you can carry and see, I think it does energetically shift how you see the world. So, for this week's Beauty and Humanity segment, I want to share that I went on a hike with my friends up to Catskills, or near Catskills. We rented a car and drove 2 hours north to Catskill Falls, and it was just extremely, extremely beautiful. If you're in the area, I would highly recommend this hike, especially in the fall. Right now, it's mid-October in New York, and all the leaves are turning from green to yellow, and some of them are even orange and red. It is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, especially coming from someone that has grown up in California my whole life. I have never seen seasons really, so seeing the leaves change and being immersed in the nature was super grounding. I think it's important for us to be intentional with the time we're spending with our friends and also with our lives. If it weren't for my friend that planned this trip, I think I would have just spent that Sunday probably doing something that was more in my routine, and stepping outside of your routine from time to time to do something where you're able to be present with people and nature is extremely good for your mental health and clarity. I encourage doing a little hike, getting out there, getting some sunshine and good crisp air that you can breathe and be immersed in. I am so excited for today's topic. As I mentioned, growth is one of the most fun topics that I love to talk about, and I think it's because it's a topic where we get to continue to develop ourselves, and when we continue to elevate ourselves, we open up more room for opportunities and different life paths that are even better than the ones that we are on now. That is just an exciting concept because who doesn't want to continue to grow, evolve, and live a better life? Today, I'm going to be talking about friendships, relationships with people, and romantic relationships, and also a little bit about self-worth and self-care. I'm splitting up this podcast into 2 episodes because there's 29 lessons that I've learned, and I don't think I could cover that in one episode. I want to start off with these topics because I think in our lives, we tend to focus on the external more than we focus on the internal. In order for us to be better externally, we really have to look inward and work on the internal stuff. So, topic number one, friendships. The first lesson is that it's okay to grow apart from people and friends and to love them from afar if that's what you need in that season of your life or for many seasons. It's easy for us to get caught up in the idea of wanting to hold on to people because of the history that we have with people, the friendships and the memory that we had that lasted many, many years. But sometimes the reality is that you can't bring everyone along with you on your journey of life, and sometimes your priorities, your values, your interests, and your perspectives are going to really shift. Sometimes that does call for the relationship to shift. You can't force a relationship if you aren't on the same page anymore. Yes, that can be a really sad concept, but you have to get real about honoring yourself and to make room for more people in your life that you feel aligned with and that you know that you can be your best version around. I'm not saying the people that you are growing apart with have done anything wrong. Maybe it's hard because there wasn't anything wrong that has happened. But that's the reality of life sometimes, is that you're naturally going to drift away from people, and that's okay. You have to tell yourself that that's okay, and you can make room for more people in your life. And that brings me to lesson number two, and it's to choose people who choose you. And this also goes for romantic relationships, not just friendships. And I want to give an example. In my previous relationship, I was with a partner who didn't fully choose me. Out of my own fear, I chose to stay in this relationship because I felt like I didn't know how to start over. I didn't really have a backbone in knowing what my true values were. And I saw myself as only deserving that much. In reality, after I got out of that relationship, I realized that it was important to be fully chosen because that is the bare minimum of what anyone should accept. And again, this goes for friendships and in romantic relationships. You should only surround yourself with people who fully choose you because those are the people who are going to cheer you on and to want to fully see you succeed and support you when you need it, be there for you when you're down, and to really understand you or want to understand you. After I've implemented that in my life, I can confidently say that the people that are in my life, I've also chosen. It's a two-way street, and it feels good to be surrounding yourself in an energy where you're uplifting each other in a healthy way. And my third lesson is good friendships make you feel energized and happy and not drained. A good way to test this is after you spend time with a friend, see how you feel afterwards. Are you feeling energized? Are you feeling happy? Or are you feeling drained? And are you feeling like you wasted your time? Obviously, you don't want it to be the latter, but I think we get sucked into the cycle of feeling like we owe our energy to people, and we end up spending time with people who don't fully fill our cups because we don't want to ruffle feathers or expand outside of what we think we truly deserve. When you choose to surround yourself with people that you feel drained by, you're only doing yourself a disservice and you're not fully honoring yourself. So consider that the next time you're planning a hangout with someone. Do you really want to hang out with them, or are you doing this because you feel obligated to? And if you feel obligated to do something, then you're also doing that person a disservice because they might not know that you don't really want to spend time with them, yet you're doing it because you feel like you should. And that is not fair for both of you. And in the same vein, lesson number 4 is to be with people who truly see you. Do you feel like the person that you're spending time with understands you, or that you feel like they want to truly understand you? Of course, everyone is different, and we've also been raised very differently. So obviously, there's going to be a lot of communication things that you might have to work through with your friends, your partner, but sometimes there is just a lack of understanding because someone truly doesn't want to see who you are, and that is important to note and recognize. You want to surround yourself with people who want to understand you for who you are and for you to feel like you're understood, that you're cared for. That again should be the bare minimum. You also don't want to surround yourself with people who carry a lot of envy, jealousy, because that speaks volumes to the growth that they need to do. Sometimes that might be you that's carrying the jealousy and envy, and that is an indication that you need to look inward and see where it's coming from and work through why you're feeling that way. The point is, it's important for us to surround ourselves with good people and trust our intuition when it comes to who is good for us. Moving on to a broader topic on relationships, and this is relationships with people in general. And lesson number 5 is going to be forgive others and forgive quickly. I know this concept is extremely hard, and I can get caught up in this cycle sometimes too. But it's important for us to forgive quickly, because the more we hold on to feeling resentment or anger and upset about something that happened or at someone, you're carrying that energy and you're giving more energy to that situation or person longer than it needs, and you're actually giving them or that situation more power. Oftentimes, that anger or that resentment, that grudge that you're having towards a person or what they did, that's coming from a deeper emotion within yourself. You're feeling that because you might have felt hurt or that you felt like you weren't enough. Anger only masks the sadness or the deeper emotions because we're trying to protect our ego. Recognize when you're feeling anger towards something, because you might have to just really look deeply inside to understand why you're feeling that way, and to hold your inner child and to hold that hurt for a little bit, feel it, and to fully understand it so you can let go of it and start clean, because sometimes it takes understanding where it's coming from to fully forgive. The bottom line is to forgive so you could put your energy towards something else and you're not carrying that negativity with you for a long time. Lesson number 6 is that your time is valuable. So spend it on people that you want to spend it on, and you don't owe your time to anyone. I do want to preface that this is a generalization. Of course, things aren't black and white. There are going to be instances where you want to show up for people because that is the right thing to do. But as a generalization, I say this because you yourself is a valuable person, and you have to start to see yourself as a valuable person. Your time is valuable. There's only X amount of time in the day, so be choosy with who you choose to spend your time with. You want to start to assess, okay, is this actually going to fill my cup, or is this going to take away from me? If there is a coffee request or a hangout request with someone that you just don't really vibe with, or that you know that isn't going to be conducive to your mental health, or that you're not going to enjoy spending time with, then it's okay to decline those invitations, because you don't owe anyone your time or energy, and you have to assess how you should spend that time and energy in the best way that you can. The next topic I want to talk about is romantic relationships. And lesson number 7 is what's meant for you won't make you feel like you're too much. There are instances in relationships or when you're dating when you feel like you are too much for someone, or you can't fully be yourself because you feel judgment, or you feel like it's not a safe space to be who you are. But that is just an indication that this person is just not right for you. Don't make a square peg fall into a round hole, or whatever that idiom is, because you don't want to force anything to fit together. If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. The right person isn't going to make you feel like you are asking them for too much, because the right person is going to honor that, and they're going to want to do that for you. They're also going to create a safe space for you to be truly who you are. Until you find that, don't settle. Until you find the person that's going to make you feel heard, seen, and be who you truly are, then you don't want that person. Don't trick yourself into thinking that this is the right person because it checks off certain check boxes. You can be picky with who you want, because the more you grow into who you're meant to be, you want to raise your standards, because you're not going to settle for less than what you deserve. Of course, you want to continue to grow into who you're meant to be, because you also want to be elevating to be the right partner. But don't settle into the wrong relationships just because you feel like you should or you want it to. Lesson number 8 is always carry your own identity in relationships. And this one is so important. All of these I believe are important, but this one in particular is something that I've had to really grow in as I've gotten older. I was a serial monogamist until 25 years old, so I was constantly in relationships, and there was a lack of identity that I had. As someone who is naturally very independent, I know I had a strong core of who I am, but because I was always in relationships, I got carried away and the group identity became larger than my own identity. And you never want to get into the space where you lose your identity because of the relationship that you're in. After having a period of time when I was single, that's when I really learned so much and redeveloped my sense of identity, who I am, what my passions are, and I never want to be in a place where I compromise that ever again. And that's something that we should all be aware of, because if you lose yourself in someone, then you might also lose the very reason that you fell in love with the person that you're in love with. The individuality that you carry is so powerful and so important. And in a relationship, you're not with them because they are making you feel complete. You're together because you're two individuals coming together as complete people who are only helping each other grow into better versions of yourselves, support each other on your journeys, and have this partnership where you have a great relationship for intimacy, a safe space, and all the things that come with being in a relationship. Your identity is what makes you who you are, and it's important to continue to hold that part of you as you're in a relationship. And if you're in a long-term relationship, it's important to make sure that you check in with yourself, with your partner, to make sure that you still hold your sense of identity. You can still have your own hobbies. You can still have your own things that you like to do. You can still hold your own boundaries and still be in a very healthy relationship. Actually, in fact, that is the healthiest relationship, when you both have your own things going on and you also have a collective identity together. But you can't have a collective identity if you don't have your own individual identity. In a relationship, it's natural for you to take on parts of their identity and for them to start to take parts of yours. But don't get so wrapped into that where you're so lost in the relationship where you feel like you don't even know who you are anymore, because that is dangerous, not for yourself, but also for the health of your relationship. There's so much that I could share about this topic, so this can be a separate podcast episode. And the bottom line is, be who you are and carry your own identity. Okay, now moving on to the relationship that we have with ourselves, and I want to get into the topic of self-worth. Self-worth is probably one of the most important topics that we can talk about. And lesson number 9 is practice setting boundaries. And even when it's hard to, you want to start practicing setting boundaries, because you're only going to set yourself up for success. There's so much beauty in being able to speak up for yourself and hold the firmness, but also doing it in a soft way. I say this because we often get scared to set boundaries because we don't want to disappoint people. But when you do something out of not wanting to disappoint someone and not because you truly want to do something, then you're holding their interests at a higher level than the self-worth that you carry for yourself. When you allow yourself to fall into the trap of continuing to do things to not disappoint others, then you're constantly abandoning yourself and you're constantly chipping away at your self-worth. When you express your needs in a firm way, but also share in a way where it holds a lot of empathy, that's when people start to respect you more, because you're also showing that you are respecting yourself, your time, your energy, and people start to take that seriously. When you don't have boundaries for yourself, that's when you start to get walked all over on, and you don't want to ever be in that space. And in the same vein, lesson number 10 is show up for yourself in the same way that you show up for others. There are so many times in my life where I abandoned myself because I wanted to show up for others, even though I knew that I needed to take a break or that I needed more rest, because I felt like by not showing up for others, I was letting someone down and I was going to disappoint them. I know I already mentioned that in the last lesson, but when you do that, you're only giving from a place where your cup isn't full, and then you're giving from an empty well and you're not able to show up as the best version of yourself. It might cause you to get into a cycle of feeling disappointment and then resentment, and you don't ever want to feel that because of your own actions. Start to show up for yourself the way you were showing up for other people, because the more you do that, you're able to give from a full cup and be a better version of yourself when you are present with them. Lesson number 11, if you're lonely, sit with it. In my 20s, it was really hard to sit with my loneliness. And the biggest thing that I learned is that sometimes you just have to sit with your loneliness and write it out. When we try to mask our loneliness with spending time with people that we don't even really want to spend time with, or doing activities that we don't really want to do because we want to fill that void of loneliness, then you're not truly addressing the root cause of what's making you feel lonely, and you're not able to confront those issues head first. When you confront your loneliness, then you start to develop a better sense of yourself because you're choosing to look inward, do the hard work to understand where it's coming from. You never want to lower your standards because you're feeling lonely. And of course, in life, you're going to have bouts of loneliness, but that's just part of life. And loneliness is an emotion. So just as happiness comes in, or sadness, anger, joy, excitement, all those are emotions, and loneliness is another emotion. So learn how to best master what loneliness is to you. Lesson number 12 is to always choose yourself first. And this one encompasses all the lessons I've talked about when it comes to self-worth, but always choose yourself first, because you are the person that's going to be with yourself for the rest of your life. The relationship that you have with yourself is the most important relationship that you're going to have, and what you're here to do is so important. So invest in yourself and invest in who you are, and the more you invest in yourself, the more room you have to give to others and to be the best version of yourself to show up for others. The last topic I want to explore in this part 1 episode is self-care. Lesson number 13 is to protect your energy. You should always assess how you feel after you hang out with someone. Are you feeling drained? Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling indifferent? Those things are going to be so important because your energy is sacred. This also goes for things like world news. In this day and age where we have the internet at the tip of our fingertips, we have so many things that we have access to, and the news is constantly pushing out so many things to us that's happening around the world. And those things can be extremely overstimulating, and those things can also make us feel sad or angry. And it's really important for us to protect our energy and for us to be grounded as much as we can. Yes, there's a time and place for us to feel anger and sadness for the things that are happening, but it's also important for us to be grounded and to really understand that we're responsible for our own energy. And this bleeds into lesson number 14. We truly are responsible for our own energy. Let's say you're picking up bad vibes from someone and you attribute that to your own energy. For example, let's say we're at a party and we feel that someone is bringing bad energy, and your thought is, oh my gosh, this person is such bad vibes and it's making me feel down about the energy of the space. In reality, it's our responsibility to take ownership of our own energy and to know that you don't have to take on that person's energy. Yes, as an empath, it might be easy for you to absorb some of that energy, but it's truly our responsibility to carry our own energy and to be responsible for it. When you're affected by other people and other people's energies, that is a reflection of what work you need to do and to reflect on. Last lesson I want to give is lesson number 15, is to be present, and that nothing lasts forever. Yes, that concept can sound really sad because things are not permanent, but we can also see it on the flip side and see the beauty that nothing lasts forever. Moments are constantly fleeting, so make the most of it and be present with them because you don't get it again. because we don't get those moments again, we should live presently and to be immersed in what's happening right now in front of you and the people around you, because the more you can stay present with yourself, the less regrets you'll have in the life that you've lived, because you were fully there, fully experiencing all your emotions and the people that you're with, the experiences that you're having. You get to fully experience that moment for what it is, and you're not constantly looking to the future or looking back on your life reminiscing. Those things are important too, but it's also important to stay present and hold space for the current version of you, because she deserves that more than anyone. And as someone who's quickly approaching their 30s, I am super grateful for my 20s for teaching me such valuable lessons. I know these are just only a handful of the lessons that I've learned, but I'm really realizing that my 20s were such a formative decade for me to really grow into who I am and to really build a foundation for my future. These lessons are definitely applicable even if you aren't in your 20s, and I can't wait to share more in the next one. Thank you so much for spending time with me on Aligning with Purpose. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast so you never miss an episode. And be sure to connect with me on Instagram and TikTok at aligningwithpurpose.pod and @julioshi, JULIYOSHI. If you enjoyed today's podcast episode, please leave me a rating and review. Your support truly means the world, and catch you at the next one.